Hello, my dear friends of grade 4. I hope you are all well and doing fine and having a nice winter break. In today's video, inshallah, we will continue with chapter 3, lesson 2. But let's just have a quick reminder of chapter 3, lesson 1, and how does the bodies of animals help them meet their needs. We learned that all animals need basic needs, which are food, water, air, shelter. And don't you guys mix between shelter and habitat, because shelter is a place where the animal feels safe, but habitat is what contains all of that: food, water, air, and shelter. We also learned that in order for animals to you know um, protect themselves or get what they need, they have to do a certain behavior or have certain body parts that help them meet their needs, which we call adaptation. And we learned in the previous lesson about adaptation, the types of adaptation. We have physical one and behavioral. In the physical, we learned that it's something in the physical appearance or in the general appearance of the animals. They can change their colors, for example, like this type of rabbit we learned about. This one can change its color during winter and during summer. So in winter it becomes with a white fur, so it can camouflage, which is a word you guys learned before in the last year. But this type of adaptation helps it to escape from its predator, to blend in with the snow. And in summer, it changes back into brown, so you can blend in with, the tree trunks and stuff like that with the brown environment, because brown color will not be so obvious. And I know you guys will say like, but we can actually see the difference, but animals cannot see the colors the same we do. We have another type of physical adaptation, like the scales on the fish and reptiles protect their skin from any injuries. Some lizards, for example, have long tongue that helps them catch the prey, having claws to catch the prey, having sharp teeth to tear the prey, being so fast, being so strong, having different beaks in birds so they can have different diets up to the environment they're living in. An eagle's claws are so sharp so he can snatch up his food or snatch the prey. Penguins learned how to swim instead of flying, because they cannot fly. They're still birds, but they cannot fly. So all of that was types of physical adaptation. So again, physical means in the appearance of the animals. Okay, we learned that we have two types: camouflage and mimicry. The big difference between camouflage and mimicry is that both of them happens in the appearance, but camouflage means to be, blending in with the environment, like this type of insect on the left. It's camouflaging with the tree branch, so it's blending in with the environment, while mimicry means to, mimic or imitate another organism, to look like another organism, like this worm looking like a snake, so it can, tear or, make their predators go away. Also, this type of butterfly, it looks like an owl, obviously, so it can scare away its predators. Some organisms actually tend to look like poisonous organisms, so they can also fear away their predators. All of that we talked about in the last session. Now let's move to lesson 2, which is also talking about adaptation, but in this one, we will only discuss the behavioral adaptation, the behaviors or things animals do in order to also survive in the environment and to get what they need, to get their basic needs. So let's start with the first type of behavioral adaptation, which is called instinct. Okay, So we all have good instincts. Yes, we do. Let me zoom into it so you guys can see full screen. We moved. Okay. So back to what I was saying. As we said, adaptation is behavioral or a physical appearance that animals and other organisms have. They don't have to be animals only. That helps them get what they need. The first type of behavioral adaptation is the instinct. What do you mean by instinct? It's a behavior an organism knows without being taught. Like no one teached him or teach the organism to do it. He's just born with it. Um, he begins his life with it. For example, the spider knows how to spin a web. No one taught him to do that. He's just born with this ability to spin the web and make it with the certain shape we see. And this web actually attracts the prey. Do you guys know that? That's why it looks kind of silvery to some organisms. So they can be trapped inside of it, and then the spider will attack and inject his venom inside his prey, and then eat it. Do you know that a spider's web is as strong as steel? According to the prey size, not like our size, but we're talking about the prey size. I mean, imagine a fly. A spider's web is as strong as steel to it. They say that spider's web is actually between steel and rubber, so it's so strong as steel, but so flexible as rubber. Another type of instinct is living in herds, living in groups, like zebras living in a group that makes them so strong. And actually, um, if you noticed how the predators attack a prey in herd, they tend to attack the prey that's running away from the herd, or not as close as possible to the herd. So if you looked at this picture, you will see the cheetah, or this type of jaguar, chasing a prey. He will catch a zebra. It's a small one, but as you notice, it's running away from the herd. Can you see? So staying in a herd or staying in a group helps the organisms survive more, because that gives them more strength, because now they can all run together and they can actually hit. You can see what happened here. Well, the prey became a predator. Anyway, so guys, living in a herd is very important because it helps them also, be protected from the predator. That's something they just do. No one told them to do that. They're just born with it. Some other behaviors like crying when we need something, when we feel sad, those are also instinct. We do them, without being told to cry. We just cry. We are born crying, Aslan. In order to get what we need. To babies, for example, they cry so they can, get humans to know what they need. Drinking also is an instinct thing. No one told us to drink. We just feel thirsty and we go drinking. Here's a baby. No one told him to drink. He just knows that he's going to drink from the bottle. These baby cubs, the kitten, they also know how to drink. They're just born with this ability. Building a nest for birds is an instinct thing. They are not told to do that, they just do it by instinct. Okay, even the predators of them, they need a nest, they need a shelter. Remember, a shelter is a place so they can stay safe, sleep. Again, guys, do not mix between shelter and habitat. Habitat is the place where an organism lives, and this place needs to continue or to contain all of that. It needs to contain food, water, shelter, place for them to sleep in. Another example of instinct is hibernation. You guys already know, some of you know about this. Hibernation is to go into a sleep like state, you know, um, like animals, bears, like squirrels, some types of rabbits. Um, so first they start storing food and eating a lot amount of food. Like this sweet squirrel in here is actually storing the food inside his mouth, and then he will eat them later. So they can, have enough food, and then they start going into a resting state. And the reason why they hibernate, guys, is that animals see this small hedgehog, he's sleeping, he's in hibernation mood. And why do they hibernate? Well, in the winter, the food tend to, get less and less. That's why they need energy to hunt for their food. What if there is no enough food for them to get this energy? So, to save the energy, as food is, really rare, they tend to hibernate. Okay, so why do animals hibernate? In order to save the energy. Because if they went for hunting, for example, they will need more energy, so they can do this, so they can hunt, and they cannot find enough food for this energy. So why making a lot of problems? We can go hibernation. It's a lot better. They also need the energy to stay warm. So, yeah, that's another reason why they need to hibernate. The second example of behavioral adaptation is migration. And those are also example of behaviors we do by instinct. No one told them to do this. No one told them to migrate. Just know it. And migration is to travel from one place to another and get back again. And they travel in herd, of course, in a group, like birds in here. Do you guys remember this duck from Tom and Jerry? He was so eager to catch up with his friends because it was migration season. So he needed to, heal up so fast so he can go back into flying with his friends so he can migrate. But why do animals migrate? This is a good question. Can you guys guess why do they migrate? Whales also migrate. Yes. Okay, so they migrate to places where there are better food, more food, because they are traveling from cold places, for example, to warm places. So they can find the warmth. This is another example. Or to get more food, to get more water. So migration is very important for some animals. So animals know by instinct when to migrate, but it's generally when the day length changes, like when it becomes colder, they start migrating. So they migrate to get better food, to get better water, to also get the worms. Okay. Another type of behavior adaptation is a learned behavior adaptation, something we learn, not instinct. It's something we learn as we grow up. We can learn it from our parents, animals learn it from their parents. It's the same. Walking is a big example of learned behaviors. If we did not see our parents walking the way they walk, we will not be able to walk properly. So we imprint them, or we, copy their movements. That's why the baby starts crawling first and then he walks on two like his parents. Writing, imagine if no one taught you how to write. You will never be able to write, right? Because it's a learned behavior. It's something we learn as we grow up. We start learning how to write letters, how to hold a pen. So that's a learned behavior. It's not something that we are born with it. Talking, that's a very important thing. Imagine if you lived in a home, or if you grow up in an environment where no one talked. Yes, no talking, complete silence. You will not be able to talk. We learn talking because we hear our parents talking, and that's why each baby learns how to talk his, mother language because he grew up between his parents talking this language. Like we Egyptian people, we grow up knowing how to speak Arabic because we hear our parents talking this way. Other foreigner kids, they grow up between their parents talking English or talking French. Um, so they learn the language from them. So basically, talking is also a learned behavior. It's not something we are born with. And that's why babies tend to cry in order to express how they feel because they do not know how to talk. And that's why we keep saying to babies, like, say mama, say baba, say I want to drink, say something. So we teach them how to talk. Also, playing a sport. Come on, that's obvious, right? Flying for some birds, it's a learned behavior. So, yes, birds are not born with the ability to fly. They just watch their parents and they learn from them. And so dangerous for some birds, actually. Some birds are lost in this process, but it's nature. Bears also learn how to climb trees when when they see their parents do so. They learn how to catch the prey. They learn how to find safety. So you guys now learned the big difference between instinct or something some behaviors that we do not learn, we just do it without thinking. We're born with the ability to do them. And you also learned about the learned behaviors. So let's move to the study sheet. So in here you guys will see that the physical adaptation was already explained in study sheet 1 in the previous video. And here we're learning about behavioral adaptation. So we have an instinct, which is, again, behavior. An animal knows without being told. No one told him to do this. He was not taught. He did not learn it from his parents, like spider spinning the web, zebras living in a herd. We also have two other examples like hibernation, which going into a sleep-like state. Okay, so the animals do not move through hibernation, so they will save more energy so they can stay warm and stay alive, I mean, survive during the winter times. Also, migration, which means moving from one place to another, like birds, like gray whales, they do the same. And they migrate when they need to find better food and also worms. You also learn about the other types of behaviors, which we call learned behaviors. That behaviors organisms does not begin life with. They actually learn them from their parents, like walking, writing, playing sports, catching a prey, or flying. Like we have an example, bears learn how to climb trees, as we saw before, and they also learn how to find safety, how to get their food, like those baby bears watching their mother catching food. I hope you guys got this lesson. I know it's um, interesting one because I like this one. You learn a lot of behaviors about animals. So do not hesitate in sending any questions you guys need. There will be another video doing a worksheet together on both lesson 1 and 2 in chapter 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and see you in the next session, inshallah.